Main objective of the interview is to hear Avinash vision, view of the difference between the web analytics market in Europe and United States. We all the time hear that United States is a bit more advanced or is even 2 to 4 years ahead of Europe. So as you have been working on both continents, what is your idea about that statement?
I think that the web analytics tools are definitely a lot more available in the US. And there are a lot more prevalent. Companies finally have it and they're trying to do something with it. And perhaps they're not quite as prevalent in Europe as much as perhaps they're in the US. But I don't believe that in terms of using pure web analytics tools, that the US companies are necessarily a lot more sophisticated and advanced than Europe. I don't think so. I just did a seminar in London with 100 really big clients 2 days ago. And I found that the kinds of reporting, kinds of analysis they were doing was actually pretty sophisticated. And I was very interested in, they asked very probing questions about certain techniques, and I was very impressed. I love tough questions. It's a great barometer to know from the audience if they're advanced or not. So I find that they are sophisticated. The other thing that is a little bit interesting I found is many of the bigger companies do some pretty sophisticated stuff here in Europe. In the US, actually, I find the small and medium-sized companies who do more sophisticated things, which is very odd. Than the bigger one. Actually, I use the term here, that the bigger the company, the dumber it is about some of these data and flexibility, agility, and things like that. But in Europe, I found, I just had a conversation with somebody from 2 different big banks in Europe. I just talked to them 10 minutes ago. I talked to some people at big airlines, and I was like, wow, you're doing some very cool stuff, and you're pretty big. So congratulations on that. The thing that so that's one other thing that is interesting. The thing that I do find that there is a lot more progress made in the US today about both using qualitative data, surveys and stuff, and also testing. I think that I've not heard both of those things used as much in Europe. And the amazing thing is that surveys are not that hard to do, and you could do yourself. You don't need anybody else to do it. But I don't see them used as an instrument. It will be, again, one of the instruments in your arsenal. It won't replace everything you have. But I've not seen Europeans use that quite as much. And testing, of course, I see very little use of testing. My hypothesis is that's because the current set of vendors are all US-based. At least all the big ones are US-based. And slowly they're trying to come over to Europe and do things. But the availability is potentially a barrier to the adoption rate and usage. So now with the free optimizer tool from Google or other tools available worldwide, there will be more incentive for people to use because you can try it for free. When I launched the 4Q survey with iPerceptions, within just a couple of weeks, we had so much demand to translate into languages. So we've spent the last month or so translating into 23 languages because there is demand. So I think that as the tools become more available, my hypothesis is Europe will become more advanced in using these techniques. But I don't see those 2 techniques used as much, and I believe, as I said in my presentation, that those are very important for you to understand the complete picture.
Discussing these differences between the markets, do you think it is needed for the Web Analytics Association to attack or approach the 2 markets differently? Is there a need for a split, restructuring?
I think that web analytics overall is a very niche area. It's a very tiny area. And we have to be cognizant of that fact. And it is interesting, but I was just reading this post on one of the blogs that says many worldwide associations like the IAB that have been operating independently are now merging, not going in the other direction. So it's interesting to understand these trends and patterns. I think the thing that is needed is, and I think that the WAA has done a very good job of having a very loose structure where the WAA has country directors and it has 2 board members now who are from international and things like that. I think that what is necessary, in my again humble opinion, is that there needs to be a lot more autonomy. And especially there needs to be a lot more freedom in terms of setting vision, being able to spend some money, organizing and things like that at a local level, while being able to leverage the power and the size of the mothership, the worldwide mothership. Because my hypothesis is the best thing to do for the industry is we band together, because we still operate in a niche, and together we try to change the world, but we think locally, right? It's like the famous Jack Welch saying, think global, execute local. And I think that the challenge for the association, the president, Seth, and our chairman, Jim, and vice president, April, I think these three people need to get together and figure out how to truly create structures and processes that allow us to be powerful globally, together, not splintered, but have a vision and a direction, but be able to say, you're in Belgium, you're very good at what you do, go execute locally. And I think that we haven't done a good job of that yet.